Hello, my name is Margie Beck, and I'm here to do a quick video of some sewing basics for those that don't use a sewing machine on the regular. This will help you with any basic sewing project, specifically masks like we're talking about in this project. So I just want to go over some basics. Before I get started, I want to tell you it's always smart, if available, that you keep the guide that came with the sewing machine you're about to use handy. It usually will answer any questions you have. But some people are just grabbing grandma's sewing machine, which this video may not help you because this is about a 10-year-old machine and grandma's might be much older. So hopefully you have grandma or mom around to kind of help you with it. But basically, for this kind of project, the basic things you will need is, of course, a sewing machine, a pair of scissors, sharp scissors, some push pins. This is a stitch remover for mistakes. You'll really want one of these. You can find them at any dollar store, Hobby Lobby, Walmart, etc. When you're cutting fabric, you want a Sharpie or just a very good pen that will mark on fabric. And I also have this out. This is a white, it's called a washout cloth marker. And the reason I have this out is because if you have a dark fabric that you can't see the Sharpie, you get one of these. Again, you can find these at Hobby Lobby, Walmart, and they mark white on the fabric and it washes out. So you don't have to worry about a Sharpie because you're going to be marking where you'll be cutting and then you'll be sewing, and anyhow, you won't have Sharpie on your project. I also always recommend having an iron close by, and of course I have this cool desk that has all this room, and it's wood, so I can use my iron right on it. But if you don't have that luxury, just an ironing board, or put a thin towel down on a table and you can iron on that so you don't damage your table. So sewing basics are that you of course need to have thread, and you need to know how to properly thread your machine. Mine threads through a process that's pretty simple and it has numbers on it, and so you'll put it through number 1, number 2, down to number 3, up to number 4. It's pretty user-friendly. Number 5, and then it feeds here and into the needle. And that's your top thread. So it feeds from the thread all the way down there. You always, of course, cannot sew without what's called a bobbin. This is the bottom stitch. So you'll have a top stitch and a bottom stitch. And if this bobbin's not in there, the sewing machine will not run. Okay, so you have to have that in there, and of course installed properly using your instructions or of an adult that knows how to use the machine. Okay, and then settings on your machine. For this simple project, you see I have all these settings on my machine. I just use the number 2 setting. This is a simple stitch and it's centered. See how this one is left? This one has 3 stitches. This one down here is right. This one is in the center of your foot. So it puts the needle right in the center. See, if I were to move it to the 1, it moves my needle over. So I keep it on 2, it's right in the center, and then you can use the foot as a guide because from the center of the needle to the foot happens to be exactly a 1/2 inch, and that's what I used for this project. So play around with your machine, get some scrap material, and you can figure out which stitch is best for you. That's basically it. You have this puts down your foot, and when you're sewing, you either have a thing you press with your foot, or me, I have a start and stop button, and I have a speed. So I can slow down my speed, and it goes nice and slow. This is something you'll also want to use as a back stitch. where you go back. At the end of stitches, you want to kind of solidify that. So those are your basics. Again, look at your manual if you need help for anything, and happy sewing.